Good afternoon, everyone. This is Henry, and in tonight's free video, I wanted to look at an idea with you that I will sometimes utilize around earnings, and it's really not for everybody, but I think it is something that is at least worth incorporating into your studies. So when I look at Zoom, and they're due to report earnings here in about the next 5 or 10 minutes, you can see it's about 4 minutes until the cash close. But when I look at this, it's just the idea that to me, a lot of these COVID names have been a little bit too hyped up. You know, immediately what comes to mind is Costco. There have been several others, but it's just nothing comes to immediately to mind to me that has been this type of COVID, little bit of a panic into type name that has reported earnings and exceeded the expectation, right? I feel like most of the ones that I've been looking at, they kind of let that euphoria out of the market, all this hype from, you know, people that have just opened their Robinhood accounts, and you know what I mean. So with that all being said, and we'll see how this plays out, but I'm looking at the idea that the expected move is about $25. Okay, if we move $25 from where we are, these $250 calls are going to be totally worthless. So I'm just looking at this and thinking, wow, I can sell a Delta 14 option for $2. I think that's a good credit, and I think it's something that should fade a little bit, and at the very least, the premium should come in, and as long as we're not ripping to new lifetime highs, you know, it should be a good position. Now, if it does get a little bit of a pop, I should say a rather significant pop, and heads up into 240, those options are long. Since the entire transaction goes for a credit, you will have no risk to the downside. At 250, that is where you achieve your maximum profit on Friday, right? It would have to expire there. But I just feel like this is a very forgiving way to gently fade some what strikes me as high out of the money premiums. And then of course the only thing that I would follow up on this with is that if it does really start ripping in the extended session and we exceed 250, then just buy 100 shares for every one lot you've done. You can see this is a 2-lot example of the 1 by 2. So just buy 200 shares of the stock in the extended session, and then, you know, you've handled a situation you didn't expect to happen, but are still doing it, you know, at that moment with defined risk. So, you know, let's give it a few minutes and see how these reports look, and we'll update this as it unfolds. It's now about 15 minutes past the cash close, and generally speaking, we should be out of the toughest part to manage this trade, which is to say that if it was going to explode higher, usually we're going to see that happen just as soon as the numbers hit. In this case, Zoom beat on the top and bottom line. Everything looks great there, but it feels like those, you know, I'm reminded of the infancy of my trading where you jump in and want to buy calls into earnings. They would make their numbers, but you still wouldn't make money on those long call options. Well, this is just one way of trying to step in and take the other side of that trade. Now, if it were to exceed, you know, the expected move, which is what we're still within, remember, $25 up or down was all expected in ZM. So as long as we're inside that range, I'm going to let it ride and look for it to close out, you know, around 6 or 7 this afternoon. If that's still what we're within, then I'll leave the trade and should be able to manage the profit relatively easy into tomorrow. If you get on the conference call and it really does start jumping, just remember that option to hedge your position with the extended hours shares, and that can be one way to cut off your risk. But otherwise, this is a very high probability strategy, and I think that it's something that is at least worth incorporating into your trading. So I hope that is helpful. You guys have a great rest of your evening, and we'll see you at the next free video.